Hey everybody, it is awesome to see you Nuglo, it is awesome to see you German Gary Oak, Attack Cowboy, Sam of Drones, everybody. I didn't call you out. Alright, we're going to see a turn 1 Giver of Runes for Nick here.
Looks like Kern wants to do something on turn 1 too with a Simian Spirit Guide and doesn't want the Giver sticking around.
Seems like a good plan. So my mistake, this is not the teamer version, so we won't get to see any Okos Okoing Oko, but we will get to see this nonsense.
Yeah, I think Kern is playing main deck Ancient Grudges here with 3 liquid metal coatings in the main and 1 in the sideboard to get off Karn. So you're just kind of blowing up whatever you want.
Delicious. Yeah, the other day when I played this deck, I got paired up against Affinity, and I really hope that wasn't his last time playing Mox Opal because he really didn't appreciate foreign main deck Ancient Grudge. Um,
That's sad.
I know, I kind of felt bad.
I feel sad just for Affinity players in general right now.
I
But
feel slightly responsible. Nick gonna follow with a bird, presumably something he drew. I don't know. Would you lead bird or giver if you had the option?
probably, uh, probably Bird, I would say, because that enables you to play set up for your combo in turn 3.
All right, then we can assume maybe that Nick drew that bird for turn. Curran gonna go ahead, crack a windswept heath, grab a stomping ground. Bam, temple garden down. Love liquid metal coating. It's such a trash artifact.
It's so bad. That's one of those examples of cards that you'd like never pick and draft. You're like, why does this even exist? And
hmm
then like 12 years later.
Yeah, the only problem with this deck is if you ever are sitting there with an ancient grudge in hand and no liquid metal coating, or liquid metal coating and no ancient grudge, just why are these cards in my deck? Um,
I would say if it was just for those two, I would say not worth playing that combo, but now that you have Karn that can sort of pick off
yeah.
lands too, Liquid Metal Coating looks a little less embarrassing, although there are still moments where it's real embarrassing.
Oh, and here's Teferi Time Raveler on Nick's side. That's gonna bounce liquid metal coating, the all valuable liquid metal coating. Set Curran back a little bit on mana to throw that down again. See, Nick picking up a deputy of detention also spotted an Eladamri's call in his hand.
I bet this Teferi is gonna get eaten with the Flashback Grudge.
There's the coating again.
Would you go after Teferi or land?
I kind of go for a land. Oh, he's going for the bird. Sensible. Same, but different.
I kind of like going for land over bird there because I bet if coding gets turned off, you have more ways to kill bird than you do to blow up a land. But I feel like it's pretty small percentages.
That's reasonable. I don't. Nick does have deputy, so he does have a way of turning off the coding or getting rid of the coding, and we do know that Curran has a braids in his deck at the very least. Here's Devoted Druid. Probably a much better target for those braids.
There's also another ancient grudge.
Donna, Donna, Donna.
So how does your deck do against a Vindicate every turn? Like, maybe fine? I don't know.
That's the fun part about this deck. It's just like, my deck's full of Vindicates. The cast for 2 and flashback for 1. This is fine. The bans are not enforced at the shop today. This is the swan song for all our friends and also Oko. Um, main deck Blood Moon. All right. Nick's pretty well set up to handle Blood Moon, though he's not going to be able to
Do we have forest over there? Or is that 2 plains?
we have forest
Okay.
plains and then 2 mountains.
The old Naya.
No, the bans are actually going into effect tomorrow, I believe, both online and in paper.
Yeah, it used to always be the Friday after the Monday, but I think they changed that, so it's I
Yeah,
think
they've changed it
Wednesday.
because it used to be out of sync with Magic Online. Nick having a think here. Deputy will not be hitting the board today. He's got a Vizier.
It feels like Nick had his next turns lined up with the idea of playing that deputy, and then we
If it,
gotta reevaluate.
if it weren't for that pesky Blood Moon. Yeah, it turns out when you only have 1 green source, 1 white source, that Eladamri's call does not let you go very fast. Spend a whole turn on it. And goodbye to the plains. We've got plenty more Vindicates where that came from.
Curran's not really afraid of a combo next turn.
Maybe any turn.
Probably not. But I think we're just cutting off the basics right now.
So here's Postmortem Lunge. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. I think Nick just won the game,
Oh,
as it turns out. He's got a finale in hand, so
there we go.
Nick just won the game. Do 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 finale. X is 1,000,000.
Oh.
Curran picks it up. That was actually kind of fun.
Didn't see the post-mortem lunge coming.
Let's sketch. I'm going to correct the clock here. We have 36 minutes left in round. We're going to fix that up for you here. So, yeah, I believe in Heliod. I'm not that interested in playing Titan. I think Titan's really strong. I'm not that interested in playing Titan. I'm going to play the busted Heliod deck. I also was kind of brewing Lantern as a joke earlier, but then a lot of people had some really good ideas on Twitter, and now I don't feel like it's a joke. So, I'm going to think, and if anyone here was working on that Lantern list with me earlier, thank you, because y'all actually had some really good ideas.
So I haven't kept up with any of the social media, but just taking a guess, does it involve Mox Ambers and
Well, that's a big debate.
okay.
I was thinking that, while Mox Amber is bad, it kind of has to work, or there's no way it could possibly, the whole deck can't work if that doesn't work, even though it's bad. But there were a couple of people talking about, it's just bad, just run something else. And I'm just like, it's a little bit, I don't know.
Do you play F4 Emery in that case?
I was
right?
running 3.
3?
I think people have a really good point about Mox Amber being bad. I'm just not sure if Mox Amber being bad means the deck just doesn't exist. But anyway, that was a little sidetrack. Let's take a look at some sideboard options for Nick and Curran here. Nick is looking at 3 Path to Exile, 1 Night of Autumn, a Collector Roof, a Weather the Storm, an Eidolon of Rhetoric, 2 Spell Queller, 2 Mirren Crusader, 3 Veil of Summer, and a Burrington Forge Tender. What do you like?
I don't mind Oof because it does shut off the Vindicate Everything mode for Curran's deck, or at least it requires that to be removed before we can go live with that. Plus it's a beater that, costs 2, so that's fine. Forge Tender also seems fine. Night of Autumn seems fine.
Yeah, I like Night of Autumn. Forge Tender might be a little low impact, but I like Night for sure.
I could kind of the reason why I would like Forge Tinder is it could protect you on your combo turn, and you're probably trying to combo off here because I'm imagining there's going to be some Anger of the Gods and board wipes coming in on the other side.
Speaking of Anger of the Gods, Curran's sideboard, 3 of them. 1 more liquid metal coating as part of the Karn board. Let's go over the rest of that Karn board. 1 liquid metal coating, 1 ensnaring bridge, 1 worm coil engine, 1 mycosynth lattice, rip, 1 graph digger's cage, 1 engineered explosives, 1 pithing needle, and 1 basilisk collar. Other non-Karn targets, 3 obstinate bailoff, and a scavenging ooze. I think you're mostly in for the angers here, yeah?
Yep, Angers for sure.
Easy.
I could see an argument for ooze. I don't know if I'd bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it helps you with postmortem lunge, which was what just killed him. But
I feel like Curran just wasn't aware that Nick's deck played that card because a lot of lists don't, and so in game 2 you can kind of play around it and how you use your removal, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah, it also depends on how much Curran is looking to board out, how easy it is to bring in that the skews. The question of Court of Calling versus Finale in the Heliod deck, I'm still on Court of Calling. Testing the deck, there's been, again, I've only been able to test a few matchups because it's still paper. But playing against Bant Stoneblade, which is a really interactive matchup, it's felt like having the instant speed play at end of turn was so important just to push all of their interaction. Same felt a little bit true of GDS, but I'm also not. Yeah, Devoted Druid's been good, and I think you have Court is also an infinite mana sink for Devoted Druid. You don't need Finale. The best thing about Finale is it gets from the graveyard. That's what you're looking for.
Not my favorite Court art though. Let's see if we can get the good one. Oh, there we go.
There we go. OG
I
Ravnica.
love the giant bird.
Caw. All right, Curran gonna start us off here. Crack a windswept heath. Find a stomping ground. It's like a really like neon green bird too. He's not well. Here's an arbor elf for Curran. Who is in the booth?
It is Travis Cooper.
And Urchin Kali. Here we are. Nick gonna start this story off. Once upon a time, there was
Some bands, and Once Upon a Time did not get one.
this story goes on and on. Here's Devoted Druid. Seems reasonable in a Devoted Druid deck. Is Escape going to affect Modern heavily? I don't know. We'll talk about that a little as we go. Windswept Heath for Nick. I think Ox is actually, definitely the obvious pick for high impact card. Bedlam Revelox. Nick can grab a planes here. Wonder if we are going to see a Giver of Runes indeed.
So what 3-drop are we going to play on current side?
Is it Blood Moon? Probably not good against planes.
Ooh.
What's the name?
Always a strong combo with Arbor Elf.
2 mana. Green, red. Bam. Get out of here.
Oh, looks like Curran missed a land drop there.
Uh-oh. Utopia Sprawl is kind of a land drop, but it's better when you actually have another land.
It's true. It is funny that Curran can cast a 4-drop with 1 land and play this upcoming turn.
Seems good. Yeah, Bedlam Revelox is definitely a dredge card, just because Dredge has actually been using Mana Confluence and City of Brass in varying numbers for a while, even pre-looting banning.
Yeah, it seems like there was usually 2 mana bases with Dredge, one that had, the ping yourself lands, and then the ones that had the fetches plus the different shocks.
So Dredge can, one, fill its graveyard very quickly, and also if people are dealing with its board and keeping it down, then it can often need to refill late. So they're not necessarily ahead on board when they have 8 or more cards in yard. All right.
I love that guy.
Curran gonna empty his hand, including exiling a Simian Spirit Guide, pick up 3 new cards with Seasoned Pyro Walks.
That seems like the pretty interesting, way to build a deck with synergy, Seasoned Pyromancer and Simian Spirit Guide, card disadvantage to card advantage.
I like it. Here he is, Gray Ogre Monkey. So Nick has found his Collector Roof, but no liquid metal coating from Curran, so not currently doing that much.
Intentional or unintentional pun there?
It started unintentionally, and then I just leaned into it.
Question, who's the beatdown?
I have no idea.
Well,
who is the beatdown?
I think it's Curran right now.
Here comes Simian Spirit Guide, gets in there, connecting. There's the liquid metal coating.
Why not?
What else are you going to do with your mana? You can pull in a braid, and then you can abrade the oof and start
turning things into artifacts?
turning things into artifacts. Currently, I believe no cards in hand, so no grudges to follow, but it's not very nice to hold a grudge anyway. Collector Oof getting in there with an Exalted trigger for 3. Curran falling to 13. It's 13 all, but Curran with the better board presence here. Time to battle. 4.
Arbor Elf staying back.
I love Gemstone Mine in Dredge just because you can recycle it, so you can avoid some of the damage. Looks like Nick brought in Spell Queller here. Speak of the spirit, and it shall appear. Seems like a good blocker.
So Curran has been playing out all the cards, which I think you do because you have Seasoned Pyromancer. Playing land drops. didn't play a card this last turn. I'm curious what it could have been because he had access to a lot of mana. Maybe something like an Anger of the Gods.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't. When you're ahead on board like that, you absolutely no reason to sweep it up. And also, Nick losing value because he's behind on board has to try to regain some kind of position with that Spell Queller, and losing the ATB exile a spell effect.
Well, there's something to do with some mana on Nicholas's side. And a Duskwatch Recruiter joined the team.
He's also got a Shalai and a Devoted Druid in hand, so it seems like he might have a lot to do with his mana. He's also holding up Spell Queller, and I believe I saw another one. Maybe not. All right. Nick falls to 7. Curran with an attack that telegraphs a pretty obvious Anger of the Gods. Suicidal Arbor, Elf and all. Bam. Get out of here. Spell Queller. So that's pretty bad for Curran. He does that attack knowing that his creatures are forfeit to his own Anger of the Gods, but the Anger of the Gods doesn't resolve. Nick is now significantly ahead on board, and we have had a huge swing. Nick representing 8 damage just on what's available. Not able to combo off here and not able to activate Shalai, so this will only be an attack for 8, I believe.
It's kind of a tenuous situation if Curran draws a removal spell. The House of Cards falls pretty hard.
So do you attack for 8 here, or do you just say get in for 4 in the air? The answer is attack for 8. Just go for it. You could say, yeah, it makes sense if there's another Anger of the Gods. You don't want to be left that far behind.
Yeah, because that way you kind of... Shalai's toughness is 4, right? So
yeah, save from Anger. All right, and that's going to be the match here. Nick taking it down 2-0 over Curran, and that was pretty quick. So we're going to go find you a mid-range match.
Well, yeah, let's go
It
for
might be a
mid-range
mid-range match. We'll see what happens. We're going to find you a mid-round match, and we can keep talking about Modern on this very special and very sad day. We'll be back in a sec.
We'll be back in a second.